Hello, my name is Sukhmani Bagga, and I am a recent UTM Bio graduate and a 2022 U of T alumni. I started my journey at UTM back in 2017 when I graduated from high school, and I got accepted into the psychology program. I was actually aiming for life science, but I accepted the psychology program, and it was a lot of the same courses that you have to take for life science, so that's why I just continued down that path. And, my studies included psychology, bio, doing some social science, some humanities. You kind of have to do these distribution requirements. And I'm really glad that you do, because in 4 years, it's just not enough time to do courses outside of your degree. And one of the reasons that I, actually did a fifth year is because I took so many courses that just intrigued me, like forensic science and earth science. I loved those courses, but they weren't in my degree requirements. And it's just not enough time to get all your program requirements done while also trying out new courses and, seeing where your interests lie. So I definitely recommend that you take courses outside of your program requirements. I was definitely quite involved in the UTM community. I actually in first year was at risk of being on academic probation, and so I was sent to the PASS program. And that's at the RGASC, the Robert Gillespie Academic Skills Center. The PASS program essentially is like a study program with mentors and, teachers, and they're just kind of helping you get back on track with some tips and how to read your syllabus, your course syllabus, how to, become more confident back in your academic journey. I know it's very tough when you face rejection, especially at such a high level. University is already so daunting. And then you get back papers and you're like, wow, I studied so hard for this, but I barely passed. And it's just a matter of building better study habits and learning to read exactly what your professor wants. So I definitely recommend the PASS program to anyone who needs it. And so after I finished that program, I was actually invited to come back as a program assistant, which was amazing. I got the opportunity to, kind of work with students who were in my path and just share my own experiences with them and, share how I got back on track. So something really important and close to my heart that I wanted to share is that a lot of the struggles that we face as students, in university is just like the feeling of, imposter syndrome, just feeling that I don't belong and feeling like everyone is achieving more things than you. And it's just like, it feels like a race. And at some point you get really tired and you get burned out and you start to second guess, do I belong here? And that was definitely me. That was definitely me in first and second year. And I'm glad that I, made the friends that I had made because they suggested joining accessibility. And I just want to talk about that a little bit because I am so passionate about people learning about the resources on campus, because it does not have to be that hard to survive in undergrad. If you're struggling in any way, shape or form, reach out to an accessibility advisor, reach out to the Health and Wellness Center downstairs near the bookstore. They have so many resources. And I think a lot of students also don't know that we are paying for all these resources in our tuition. We have free therapy. We have free, doctor visits and all these things, and nobody really makes use of them. And I didn't know these things until much later on, where I was almost done second year. And I really only got into accessibility, I think, in third year. So that's like half of my school journey gone, where I could have accepted some help. And I wasn't able to. So definitely look out for the resources that you have around you. Aside from that, I was also part of the UTM football team, the tri-campus flag football team. And I was co-coach with some of my friends, and it was a lot of fun. We, due to the pandemic, we didn't get to play too much, but we had a couple games and we won a couple games. So it's definitely a fun experience. And I did get to play flag football with some women down at U of T campus. And it was, one of the most cool experiences that I've had. You play football in the winter, in the snow. So that, I don't think I'll ever experience something like that again. But I definitely recommend any new incoming students, or if you're already a student at UTM or U of T, get out there, get involved in the community, because you definitely need a balance of studying and playing. So UTM has offered me a lot of opportunities career-wise. A couple years ago, I think 2 years ago, Trillium Health Partners, which is where I'm currently working, came onto UTM campus and hired students for this digital tech implementation. And I actually had a little bit of experience in that from doing kind of like co-op internships every summer. So I had a little bit of that technical background. And that's where my path began at Trillium Health Partners. And, hopefully it continues from here on out. But I'm so grateful because, that I was present in that moment when they were hiring and, that journey started for me. If you're in the sciences and you're kind of looking to be placed in a hospital, get out there, get some volunteer experience. I know that after working in the hospital, there's so many positions that I just didn't know existed. I had no idea. When you're in life science, I feel like there could be a better job at understanding what exact roles that you can aim for after you graduate. Whereas kind of what I knew was like nurse, doctor, or like IT in the hospital. I didn't know anything else, but there are so many positions. That's why it's such a, booming industry, and there's just so much innovation happening all around us. In terms of my education, I just graduated. I'm currently looking at other postgraduate programs. Let's see, I'm taking a little bit of a break to work and, just kind of figure it out. But whether it's a master's or whether it's like a certification, like at a college, both things will reap great benefits. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. Thank you so much for reading my story and watching this video. And thank you to the Department of Biology and the UTM staff for allowing me to share my story and, working with me on this project. Thanks so much.